Good morning, everybody. Got Lady Hippy here this morning. I'm going to give it a shot anyway. I was looking at some of the news programs and so forth this morning. Again, nothing really new to add, although it looked like Iceland was having some more problems. And I'm seeing that poor Cat Williams is still being picked on by like everybody. Nobody liked what he said. So I'm hoping this finds everybody doing a really good day. We got 20 degrees here. I mean, we're almost in Florida. We still got 20 degrees. Mm. My only association with that is the fact that it's not raining and it's not snowing. We're doing good because we Southerners, and I kind of can't believe because I've been down here like 30 years plus. Yeah, I'm not moving my car. If they say they think it's gonna happen, no, I'm not moving my car. Mm, excuse me, I'm running a bit late today. Now I was wondering if anybody else out there besides me had heard about the two new chambers that they found in the Sphinx. And apparently there's more chambers in the Great Pyramid as well. But I've not heard anything about it being excavated or checked on or anything of that sort. So I was kind of hoping that somebody might have seen something I missed. I'm a great Ancient Aliens fan, so I have to stream that now instead of its usual time. So they may have something new on that I didn't notice. We still have that 2-camera screen thing going on. So I look like I'm watching the tennis match. I think I'm going to go with my new Acer Chromebook that Robert just bought me when my Acer laptop blew up. I mean, he had it here delivered the next morning, which is also the day we went through, the tornadoes, and the backyard's still a disaster. You can't really, they don't sell clothes here that are warm enough for 20-degree weather. He bought me Berline boots and all kinds of stuff. So, gloves, hats, we've got it all, but it took forever and it had to be done online. And it's not something you're going to go out and get a chainsaw and dig up a tree with. I'm just saying. So that's going to stay a bit of a mess. He got the other greenhouse up so that the animals and the plants are warm and dry. That was great because it took him like a whole day. I mean, these things don't come prefab. They come with like explanations in Chinese and extra parts or not enough parts. So you really can't tell. But he got that puppy up. And I was really grateful we were able to save most of the plants. So again, I'm wondering if anybody has heard anything else. I like Billy Carson as well. And I don't pull up videos yet. I may change my mind and do that later. But right now, I don't pull out different videos to say, okay, this guy found this, this, and this, because I think it's plagiarism in a different form. But I'd be happy to talk with it. Any subject y'all want to see, we will, if you need to, throw it up on the screen and go from there. My usual rant is just by myself to see what everybody's doing, what y'all thinking about. I heard something else on the Bible story situation. There's plenty of people out here that are not quite sure which Bible, and even if there is more than one Bible, which assuredly there is, you can even throw the Dead Sea Scrolls in there. They got whole books that were not in either of the Bibles that we know of today. You've got the Quran, the Torah, the Old Testament, New Testament, things taken in and out. People, are out there having to translate them from Arabic, Latin, Greek, whatever, and put their own spin on it as well. And they probably don't even have any awareness of done so. But I'm fairly leery. I'd rather read it myself. I don't know if anybody else saw this also, speaking of religion, but I was watching Pope Francis on the balcony over St. Peter's Square, and he turned and disappeared. I mean, this was faster than Beam Me Up Scotty. He didn't have no rainbow effect, no sparklers, didn't take a second or two. No, he turned, it was, but wasn't there. Now, either he was a hologram or somebody beamed him up or whatever, because the Pope turned and was just gone. And I've never gotten a really good vibe from this Pope. I did like St. Pope John Paul II a lot. But this guy I've always been leery of, who took over after Pope Benedict was elected. I think he served out like a year and a half, 2 years, and then they voted Francis in because he wanted to retire. Popes don't do that. I think they said that had only maybe once had happened in all of the popedom, as I like to call it. I'd also mentioned, they've got these 50 miles worth of tunnels that you can find any probably record you want, but you can't get it. You have to know exactly what you want in order to get a book out of the Vatican Library. And even then, you're probably not going to get to see it. How many secrets do you think the Vatican has? Anybody? I believe they've been keeping all kinds of information and science and so forth away from the people because then they wouldn't be able to control them. So that they deem him heretic, burn him at the stake, whatever. Um, even Christopher Columbus was treated in such a fashion when he went back to Spain. Was shackled and put in prison at first. I'm not even sure what that was about. I just know that it happened. So I'm trying to figure that one. You will see the lights kind of go dimmer. And I keep saying I'm going to end that one. I'm just going to end it. I want to rip it out of the ceiling. We got some of this other stuff going on that I just don't bother. I let it go in and out. We don't know what that's about. I have the TV on behind me for a little background because, again, I haven't downloaded anything to place anything. I can't right now. I don't want to narrow that corridor of what we can discuss and what we don't want to discuss because I'm still catching up with the algorithms and so forth and so on. So if any of you guys are out there, sons, grandsons, yeah, throw some throw some likes on Grandma Mom's page. It would be helpful. hmm I need a sip of my coffee again. We're all still really sick around here. I'm calling it the new Chinese plague. I don't know what everybody else is calling it, and I'm not kidding because of what COVID did. It was a Chinese virus, and they invented it. And who, World Health Organization that we give so much money to, they funded it, which all came out after they finally decided after 2 years to let everybody out. By then, 90% of the businesses had tanked. Some suicides had happened because they had no way to work. It was gone. These little mom and pop places, coffee joints, whatever, they couldn't keep going that way. Excuse me. A little Irish cream with my coffee this morning. My husband gets that for me on Sundays, and today was going to be one of those more difficult days, I felt. So I threw a little bit in there. Or I'm an alcoholic. Wow. I like these because they remind me of Europe, and I don't smoke very much. One or two little hits, and I put it away for a while, and I get my vape out. And Robert's pretty kind to me about that. He went out yesterday, bless his heart. He doesn't feel good either, and he got me some of these, and he grabbed us a pizza because neither of us felt well. We just did not want to cook or anything. I had taken out pork chops to bread and deep fried. Somehow we have to do that today. I was going to make a bunch of cupcakes, but nobody's going anywhere because either we are sick, recovering from being sick, or not wanting to get sick. It's like a ABC thing. So I know that he and I will feel better for 24 hours or so, and then we hit that roller coaster back down. So whatever it is, it doesn't let go for several weeks. Hmm. I talked to my son yesterday. He was going to come over yesterday and today and help replace the sheetrock and all that in the kitchen where the I don't know if you call it a leak, whatever it was, water was pouring from the ceiling. And Robert's still trying to find out exactly where the outside leak is coming from. It's under concrete, of course. Any difficult thing, we're going to find it. It's somewhere here, but we don't know why it's so difficult, but that's just the way it is. Um, as you can see, my boom is in the way. I'm hoping we don't have any reverb this morning. Um, Forgive me if there is any. I could edit this and then put it on, but I seem to have more viewers in my algorithms than if I do a post and edit and so forth. So I'm wearing a lot of hats here. I'm trying to figure it out as I go along. Mm. So we can't figure out now what what way to go and whether any of the things are actually biblical or not. You've got war on several fronts. Iran apparently has entered the fray, or I'm not quite sure, but the Houthis and Hezbollah and Hamas has all been financed by Iran. Ancient Persia, by the way, in case anybody forgot. They changed their names. Iraq used to be Babylon. And actually, you can see the ruins of Nineveh from the capital. So, it's always been there. So they changed their name to Iraq from Babylon. And Iran changed to Iran instead of Persia, way, way back in the 70s. Yes, it dates me. It does. It dates me. I don't care. I'm like, okay. So another thing I can't figure is why people are still saying, stop the war to the Israelis. You've already gotten your vengeance. This is the words they're using. You've had your vengeance. And now you're just killing people and civilians for no reason, killing babies and women in hospitals, having babies, and this kind of thing. But at the same time, those same Palestinian people are calling these Israelis on phones, walkie-talkies, and telling them, kill Hamas, get us out of here. Because they're even stealing the aid. The Hamas troops are stealing the aid that they are getting through. They're not letting the people have that. They're taking it. But these people elected Hamas to, and I don't believe that was a fair election. I'm just saying, supposedly they elected them to run their countries. I'm not sure how you say no to a terrorist. I don't think it's by voting, but they did supposedly vote them in, and now they want them out, but they don't want to have to lift the finger themselves. They know who Hamas is. They know where they're staying. They know where their tunnels are. Even people that had been captured who'd gotten away, they took them right back to Hamas. So these people are not being used per se. In some cases, yes, they are, but most of the Palestinians agree with this. They get paid when these kids of theirs do this kind of thing. They get paid for life if that kid dies, with a suicide vest or whatever. So the Palestinians, in my view, they can't come up and say, well, I didn't know anything about that. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. There's 50 clicks of tunnels underneath Gaza. Have you seen the map? Look at the map. Just look at the map. You don't have 50 clicks in any direction in Gaza Strip. And these guys have a whole underground city. And they're screaming, the Israelis themselves, they're screaming at Prime Minister Netanyahu that don't go to war anymore, just go get the hostages. Well, the few hostages that they've gotten out of, a lot of them were rescued. Not very many were traded. And when they trade with the Palestinians get 1,500 who are self-confessed terrorists out of jail, and they get 6 captives. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to do that math. It ain't right. And I don't think any country has the right to tell another country, you can't fight. They killed 1,500 civilians and kept some hostage. Um, but you don't have a right to go in there and say, you can't do this to us anymore. It's been 75 years and knock it off. We're taking you all out, so you can't do this again. But they are. And so Americans are doing the same thing. The war with the Ukraine is now, the second or third year. Russia hasn't pulled back. The Ukraine's got nowhere to go. So we're pretty much seeing the writing on the wall there because they've already taken, I think, like half the country of the Ukraine back. Ukraine is the breadbasket, fellas, in case y'all are wondering. It's the breadbasket for Europe, not just Ukraine. It's the breadbasket for Europe. Of course, other countries grow their own grains and stuff, but, I believe they also furnish a lot of things like that to places like the Red Cross, Red Crescent, and so forth to help people like what is happening now in Palestine. And again, I can't reiterate this enough. They have gone out of their way not to hurt the Palestinians. They've given them leaflets telling them when they're coming through, where they're coming from, and still they can't help them. These guys have all run over to the Raja Gate into Egypt. Egypt won't let them in. Egypt won't let them in. At the same time, on our southern border, we got 400,000, a day, a week coming through. They give them a phone, they give them money. I found out today that each person that comes through there, that's, They say they have information and they give them $2,000 as soon as they cross the border. You know, it's all I can do not to drive down there, park my car somewhere up in Texas, and walk across that bitch 4 or 5 times to get my $2,000 because this is what the migrant, as they call them, the migrants are doing. No, you have no idea who these people are. You don't have a clue. You don't know how many terrorists have come through the southern border. And then I heard somebody say that Biden was all for fixing the fence. Well, he stopped the fence immediately upon entering office, like day one. And they didn't even have that much left. So all the building materials, all that was just laying around. It's more than I can understand. I can't seem to even express what I think about what's going on in this country. Now they're saying, that Trump will win. I didn't even blooming know who he's running against. Does anybody else show hands? If it's Biden, they're not running because Biden can barely do a half walk. So I mean, I believe Hillary is too ill to run this year. Although I think they said something about seeing her somewhere. But I don't believe she's on a ticket that I've heard of anyway. I don't vote, as you all well know. I don't vote. The Electoral College votes in the next president surreptitiously by using the votes of each state that the citizens have cast, so they vote for them. Now, I don't know how that works because we don't vote for months after the Electoral College has already voted in the president. So while we're all running out, to vote is there's another one that I don't get. If you don't believe me, Google it. It'll tell you the same thing. So whatever you're trying to do, you're not getting it done. The other thing I love is that they draw the curtain behind them, like because they have to have a secret ballot. You know, it's not like it's blazoned on their hat, their T-shirt, on the bumper of their car, signs in the yard. Everybody knows which way they're going to vote. They all know. There's not. I'm trying to reach my water bottle because there it goes. There it goes. My cats are rescues, and they think mommy will let them get away with everything. Unfortunately, I can't do that, or I would probably. And the last kitten that let's see, we're getting a little bit of feedback. The last kitten that we have rescued is a handful. She doesn't think that she should be admonished about anything. And I've never had a cat, and we aren't usually cat people. We've had dogs all the time. But I used to see a cat would go up and push something and push it again and push it again, and then push it real hard and stand there and watch as it falls. The Pixie does this, the newest kitten. She does this. And so I have to lock her out in the bedroom at night. Robert's got where he has to lock them all out. And so I think she's going to start taking out the rest of the stuff that's on any surface. So this is going to be a fun day as well. I don't know. I've got a pope who's disappearing. He has to have people kiss his ring. I gotta see what the heck that's all about. We've got 300,000-400,000 a week, and I think that's an underestimate of people flying into this country. We don't know where they went. The government didn't give me $2,000. Yeah, that's why I said maybe I should poke my car over here and walk across, come back a couple of times. I had $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Yeah, I mean, this is supposed to be out of tax money at the same time. I remember when they were when President Trump was in, and he had wanted to suspend payroll taxes. Congress came unwound. I mean, they were like way angry, and you can't do that. And if they'll read their Constitution and Bill of Rights, they'll find that the wage of a person is never to be taxed. Never. They'll also, if they know their history a little bit, just a little bit, Google it. I mean, it's faster than even having to go to the library. Just Google it. And you'll find that not only do we not elect them, because the college votes way before we do, but they're not upholding the Constitution or Bill of Rights. At least they weren't. Now we've got some fresh blood in there. And apparently the House and Senate has changed over to the other. I don't know what's the point of all that. Democratic, Republican, I don't know. But now it's the other side that's in charge. And they want answers. They want to know why the border is still so porous. They want to know why we're paying them $2,000, a new phone, giving them a hotel, new clothes. I mean, these guys are walking around in Nike. I have never bought anything from Nike in my life. And still, these guys are doing better than we are. So, I mean, I can understand the American dream too. But there's a congresswoman from Indiana who came here from Bosnia, and it took years of work and studying before she could become a citizen. And she's risen so well that she's actually a congresswoman now. And even she gets angry about it, wants to know why we are letting them do that. And I can hear in my microphone the cat's doing something else. Let's hope it's not something I have to skin her for. So I don't understand where the average American hasn't stood up and said, look, enough, which is why the Biden administration added 86,000 agents to the IRS. What he didn't point out was these are militarized agents of the IRS. And folks, if you think that they won't come out and shoot you, you need again to check your history. Look at Waco, look at Ruby Ridge, look at Kent State. You will find that every one of the people that died in those particular instances were killed by their own government, by their own army. So never think for a second that they will not shoot you where they stand. You are trained, and I'm a veteran, you are trained to immediately obey an order. And if that order says you shoot these 15,000 migrants or these 15,000 protesters, whatever, then they're going to shoot. It's just automatic. And they, as far as we're believing when we're trained, that we only know a piece of the pie. They know the rest of it. So again, you don't question an order. You do it, or you get shot yourself, possibly. At least nowadays, it would be life and love at work. So you don't go around that system at all. So just know that they will shoot you without hesitation. And what was the other thing I saw this morning? There was something I can't quite. It's not. It's at the back of my mind. It's just niggling me to death. I'll come back to it, I guess. But I wasn't going to make a really long video this morning. I was just going to touch base to everybody. Say, hey, remember this is for entertainment purposes only. Need those likes. Tickle that bell. That gives you a subscription. You always know when I come on. You won't miss it. And it's free. The subscription is completely free. And again, I could use some viewers. So Facebook, friends, family, everybody pile in there. So I can get these numbers up a little bit higher. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. It could be as a new podcaster. I really don't have, in particular, a brand. I'm just a lady hippie as far as that goes. I wanted to talk about anything and everything, and I'm trying not to actually do a podcast on other people's podcasts, if that makes sense. I see many, and I do like them, uh, especially the ghost ones. I always like those channels. Where some of them call them reaction channels, but they'll watch them and they'll drop that film in and say, "Can you find the ghost?" Whatever, but that's not their work. It's someone else's work, and they've got this huge base fan because apparently people don't want to look this stuff up themselves. So it goes over and they've got a whole podcast. And I also noted that today as well. A lot of people have podcasts. Almost everybody does. It's a medium type of thing that's totally free speech until they shut us down. And God knows if that's going to happen or not. I have no idea. But I did want to get through here while I could still, as, as far as I think it anyway, talk to like minded individuals and everybody else that just throw it at me. I don't care what it is. We'll see if it sticks to the wall. And if there is something you want to talk about, throw that in there. Yeah, we'll see what sticks to the wall. I will answer you to the best of my abilities. It does not mean, of course, that I have all the answers. I got a lot more questions than I do answers. Again, that's like the ancient alien thing. Were they all aliens or were they Atlanteans? What was it? Who were these people that built these megalithic cities? And why did the people leave them? Why did any of the people leave them? Didn't take nothing. In certain cases, it looks like they just sat down their tools and left. And we have no idea what happened. Not a clue. And can't really date them very well. We can't date stone. Um, we got a ideas, I guess, of doing the carbon dating by actually they were using some of the stuff, the mortar that they had used, but many of them have no mortar, and they have been standing there for, as far as I can see, tens of thousands of years. There was a global flood. There's 270 myths on that if you want to look into that one. There's no doubt. that there was a flood. Now, was this flood created by a supreme being? I don't know. Again, I'm going to have to go with yeah. I don't want to give a supreme being thing like God or He. I'm trying to break that because it's drilled into us from the beginning. So I'm trying to say, if there is a supreme being that has to look down at a planet and go, oh, you guys are messed up, let's wipe you out with water, then I need to see ID. Come here, show me some ID, because otherwise I don't know why a supreme being would bother to take the time to do that. So I would like to know, this was my one question today. If anybody knows any idea on this, get back to me. Please, please, please. They discovered a rock in Antarctica, and the woman put it back and did all this other stuff. And then I don't know how many years passed. Suddenly said, "Oh, this is a Mars rock," and this was during Clinton's reign. And he said, "We found a Mars rock." Now I don't know about y'all, but how do they know it's a Mars rock? Anybody? This was the 80s. And I've never forgotten it because, of course, the president comes out and says, "This is a Mars rock. We found a Mars rock." And I'm like, okay. And how in the blooming hell did you know it was a Mars rock? Did it have a return to sender address or something I don't know about? Because I don't see it otherwise how we knew, especially in the 80s, that this was a Mars rock. And from what I understand, there we had the rover up there on Mars and all this stuff. And I found that fascinating. Also, the way they talked about this particular area with the face that looks like the totally pharaonic face looking up. You can't miss it. Pyramid City all around it. Okay. Then they tried to say that the satellite that took the original pictures looped back around. It took them from another angle where it looks like the face is all caved in, but it's not really a face. It's just, we're making it look like a face because we have pareidolia. That's a good word. Look that up. So I have time to explain. So, and again, I don't know how they think that they have a rock of Mars, unless this was something they knew was already coming their way. That doesn't explain it either. So I'm at a loss as to what's going on. I have seen, and again, I could drop these videos, and I still might do so later on as I learn my way around. Different huge sounds in the air, no reason for them, no rhyme for them. You can't find the source, and yet it's louder. It's so loud that it's rattling windows, and people are running outside and trying to find out what's going on. And this isn't just one location; this is everywhere that these things are happening in. And so I was like wondering, okay, again, okay, is this biblical or is it just me? Um, and I don't like organized religion. It's just a way to control the masses. And I do, instead of spending time there, I read my Bible. I figure out what I want to know. The Mormon Bible, the King James Bible, the Geneva. I've read them all. Dead Sea Scrolls, Quran, all of them. And you can pick and choose all you want, but you'll also find a bit of a thread that runs the same through every religious text that we use today, down to Jesus and Mother Mary. They're all in the other books. They're there. So these people must have existed at some point. The other thing I had noticed was they had this particular show on giants, and I've been watching for that for about a decade because even the Native Americans said that they had chased the last of these red-haired giants into a cave, and when they wouldn't come out, they put a bunch of stuff in front and lit it on fire. So if anybody did try to get out, they shot them. So apparently they all died in there, but they did find their bones. And this was here, of course, in the United States. And the Smithsonian was supposed to have been the ones that this went to. I don't think so. Well, I don't say I don't think they didn't get it. I'm saying they don't address this at all. Now, there's one very important story about giants, and that would be who? I know Goliath. Everybody knows the story of Goliath and David. I mean, look at Michelangelo's David. That's a real nice statue, girls. In any event, moving on. So they knew, they've known for some time. So why were they hiding these giants? In particular, North America had a lot of them, a lot. And they're termed now the mound builders. I actually got to see the Ocmulgee Mounds a couple of times here in Georgia. And the Guidestones, before this, somebody tore them down. I don't know why that happened either. I don't know why they blew up Nineveh or the thousand-year-old Buddhists, but these people are doing what they want apparently, and they're doing it with our tax dollars. I'm hoping they don't give anybody else a new Air Force base with a bunch of Black Hawks. I'm just saying. There's only so far you can take that one. So these are the things I'm thinking about. Why isn't anybody talking about any of these things? Is it not appropriate? Or it's not PC enough? Or what is it that people are afraid of? You used to get up, you could tell a joke. It didn't matter if it was a Chinese joke, a Japanese joke, black joke, white joke, Jewish joke. It didn't matter. It was funny. You know, yeah, we did have Archie Bunker, which would not be well received now. But I see I've been going through here on my 30 minutes, so I'm not going to keep y'all much longer. Again, take a breath. See, take a little bit. Yep, that gives you a subscription so that I can just vent all day long, and you can ask me stuff. And if I don't know it, I'll look it up because I would love to have some intelligent conversations about these things. And I don't get out much, as you can tell. So let's see what we can do with this one. Again, we've got the two cameras. Um, we're going to have to go with, well, we have two here, and I'm trying to set them both up so I can get off of my live stream. And again, folks, if I have a chance, if I got a lot of questions and stuff, I answered a bunch yesterday. But if I get a chance and there's more of you out here, I would go ahead and do another podcast. Okay. If not, you'll see me sometime tomorrow. All right. Toodle pip.